All right, and we are live, and hopefully I get the name right. Matt Orfalea.
You got it. That's impressive.
I
I'm
actually
already
researched.
impressed.
Well, you spell it so perfectly to trip everybody up.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so I have in my notes written down the phonetic spell. I don't know why that is. I always worry about people's names, but it's just a respect thing. How you doing, man?
Good. Other than, I'm still stuck in YouTube hell, but hopefully, you can pull me out a little bit here.
Well, definitely, definitely. We have to work on that. And the reason I'm having you on is I did a show with Allison on Saturday, same principle. Before we started, I was telling you, and most of my channel knows, in February, Valentine's Day, at about 10:43 a.m., I was in the middle of a live stream with the CEO of ZenGo, and I received a text message from my friend Viva Fry saying, "Did your stream end? What happened? Did they cut off your stream? What's going on?" And then all of a sudden, got another message. "Did your channel get deleted? My membership fee got um, refunded." And
Wow.
literally, I finally had the sense. I checked my email and I noticed that I managed to get a community strike, a video removed, and a channel deletion within 1 minute. Now, to
Jesus.
their credit, they do have an appeals process that I filled out the form on the email after I could settle down because I was rattled completely, tears, everything. Filled out the form, and 20 minutes later, they said, "Yeah, we uphold it."
Yeah.
Oh, anyway,
Yeah, it's a great appeals process. Just
yeah.
automatically, it's like,
I mean, and that's why it's so obvious. And I've been talking to Allison, who, by the way, when all this went down, I am very, very fortunate that I did manage to get my channel back. It was deleted by mistake. Was told it was a mistake. I was told I did not break a single guideline. To this day, I have no warnings, no strikes, nothing, no blemish on my account whatsoever, other than I get the stupid yellow dollar sign every freaking live stream.
mm,
And that's like a
yeah.
running gag on my channel anymore as I go, "Oh, we're yellow. Oh, we've gone yellow." So at some point during this, don't be surprised if I suddenly go, "Oh, by the way, we're yellow."
Yeah.
So let me see. Okay, right now we're still green. I
Oh,
figured
all
your
right.
name's got to have a trigger. Well, 10, 15 minutes. You got to give it a little bit of time.
Yeah, in
But
Allison's stream, it turned yellow midstream.
oh
Before
yeah,
then, and then later it got deleted completely.
exactly. Eva said,
Wait,
"Don't jinx it."
so what? Yeah, seriously. So what was your channel removed for? What did they give you any reason at all? Like any policy?
Misleading and just
Mhm.
I don't remember. It
Yeah,
was some BS. I'd have to go pull
yeah.
up the email. I think I was so traumatized that I pushed it
Uh,
out. But what I wound up doing, and fortunately, it was Viva Fry was there, so he's talking me down right away. He's like, "Okay, look, just
it's gonna be okay.
get it
Hopefully,
together. You need to get a video, put it
you
out
gotta
on
fight back.
Twitter,
Yeah,
and make it under 2 minutes 10 seconds." It took me about 5 tries, and don't attack YouTube. Don't, so I mean, it's all this stuff. My channel's all
I
about
that
behavioral
last
science.
recommendation, don't attack YouTube. I've been really struggling with.
I know. Well, that's the thing. All these people I have on my channel, I have human behavior people, body language experts, persuasion experts, things like that. So I was trying to use every bit of tool in there to release a video that was persuasive, that could cause an action, because the only action I wanted was get my
Get your
channel
damn
back.
channel back. Yes.
Now, of course, off the record to everybody on the phone, so it was like, F these, you know,
Mm.
mofos, but I, was trying to get that there. And I do think that was good advice, just in the
Yeah.
sense of somebody please help me. And when I did that, he retweeted, everybody retweeted it. I think Ruben Report retweeted it. The CEO of Rumble took my video, which I got a hold of, and put it on the front page of Rumble for a
Oh, that's
while.
great. That's
So,
great.
it really, really, really was super helpful. And of course, the first channel I went on was Allison. because we do our news with booze. So, there's my friend. So I've got David, my friend, Nate, the lawyer, my friend, Allison, my friend, all these people. And that gave the power to get things restored.
Well,
That's what I'm hoping to do with you is,
Yeah.
again, like we just did with Allison. Unfortunately, shame and Team YouTube seems to be the only path
Yes.
to actually doing anything. And
Press.
I want to point out it wasn't.
Sorry.
No, yeah, you're right. It was not only the big accounts that were retweeting, it was their followers. I personally think that the normal Twitter users who are saying, "Oh, I know this guy. He's not that bad." No, that's wrong. What are you doing? I think that really made the bigger difference is the groundswell of small accounts all saying, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?" Because the humiliation.
Yes. And it's bad press. You need to give it press. It's the only thing that they'll react to. Otherwise, they're totally unaccountable.
Now, with you, this has to be crazy
I've been
hard.
in YouTube hell for a month. But yeah, sorry to cut you off. But month straight.
Wow. Well, and you're almost a professional meme maker too. So you're actually a master at getting a message out and doing this. They got you on the Bernie Sanders campaign. You pulled a wonderful prank with the Biden campaign.
Thank you.
Although
the Sanders, just to be clear, the Sanders campaign that didn't follow through. I was there for about as short a time as you can, and that's a whole story on its own. But that's a whole other kind of censorship. We'll call it, good old cancel culture. But but yeah, the current YouTube hell is. Should I tell?
Yeah, let's go through it. Do
Okay.
the full narrative. I know it's a saga.
Yes, it is. So it started with a video I made about YouTube censorship. The video I made about YouTube censorship got censored. This was, of course, and it was right after Brett Weinstein did that podcast with Pierre Corey. And that was the first time I had heard. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard about. That's the first time I'd heard about the incredible YouTube censorship of U.S. Senate hearing testimony. And so I was like, geez, that's such a crazy big story. I mean, that's got to be the next video I make. I mean, this is a topic that concerns me greatly, and I am only finding about this now. It's just a crazy story. So I used clips from that podcast and the Senate hearing and news clips and did a short video about it. It's kind of a short dramatic documentary about it, kind of a mashup. And interestingly, so that video is still up, but rough cuts of the video that were never public were removed by YouTube. 3 of them, I was given a warning. And so when I saw that, I was like, all right, I'm going to delete all of these rough cuts. Because oddly, they only deleted 3 of the rough cuts. So I deleted all the rest of them to be safe. And the next morning, I got a notification that they deleted more video, or sorry, they didn't delete, they gave me a strike for it. And even though I had already deleted the video and it had never been public. And Allison makes the perfect point. How the hell, and they said it was spreading misinformation or medical misinformation. How the hell is a deleted video that was never public spreading any kind of information? It's not. And also, what the fuck what good is a warning if I comply to the warning? I deleted all the similar videos and I still got the strike. So what the fuck is the point of the warning? And if it was a problem, why didn't you just take it down with the other 3 rough cuts? It's
and the thing is that, and people need to understand this, because you were actually practicing their policy. If everybody in YouTube, we have a creators tab and they give guidance, and one of their pieces of guidance is go ahead and upload your videos and keep them unlisted, and this will ensure that we can check and everything's okay. It'll go green and then you can publish safely. So you're actually following their guidelines of not putting it out there, following their procedure, and they're deleting and striking it down.
Yeah, I got to
And
start just for thinking about publishing a video, a thought crime. It's insane.
I guess it was exposed to the Tinder employee who couldn't stand that. I don't know. I wonder about some of this, and I haven't run it by Allison, but I do actually wonder the way she seems so targeted, and the tight together cluster. I sometimes wonder if there's a little competition out there. Like there could actually be a competitor or a person who says, "Ah, you know what? Mm, let me push this," because
Yeah,
she's
no,
rising and really growing, and you never know.
so yeah, I mean, obviously it's, the AI is doing something, but you're right. Anybody can flag a video and, tip off the AI, and obviously haters could screw over a video like that easily. And I don't know. Honestly, I saw on Twitter. I don't want to give them credit, but I'll just say, I don't know. Are you familiar with K Hive or not?
I
K
think
Hive.
I've heard of it, but I don't know exactly what
Okay.
what it is.
So it's Kamala Harris's
Mm.
online
Oh, that's right.
fan
Oh,
group, and they call themselves K Hive. And I
that's gonna be
published
fun
an
at parties.
I published an article uh, exposing how the leaders of this K Hive group, they were boosted by fake Twitter accounts.
Mm.
And yeah, so that it had been known that a Democratic Party consultant got caught boosting pro-establishment candidates on Twitter using
Mm.
fake accounts. Her name is
Mm.
Sally Albright, and oddly, it didn't get that much press, but she admitted to it in HuffPost. But what I
Related to
did was
Madeline?
huh?
She related to Madeline?
No, I don't think so. I remember looking into that. I didn't find
Okay,
anything.
sorry.
So, I mean, I didn't look that hard. I didn't see. Yeah, I don't think so. Um, so what I did though more recently just was I looked at the archives. Somebody had done a study to prove this, nefarious
Mhm.
fake Twitter account behavior, and so I looked at the accounts that was boosted by these fake accounts. And it turns out, yeah, it's the leaders, self-proclaimed leaders of K Hive. And I published that article a few months ago. And anyway, so the reason I bring this up is I in some of the retweets or quote tweets of my calls for help on this recent YouTube censorship have been K Hive accounts saying, he's going through some things, and as if to kind of take credit
Mm.
for it. I don't want to give them credit for it, but but since you brought
Well, it
up
could
the
be
possibility of people, flagging, could you game the system and try to fuck over people they don't like, who knows? But the saga continues beyond this for being banned for a week for an unpublished, already deleted video. So after that happened, that's when Allison had me on. And when she had me on, well, I think we just talked about that. Sometime afterwards, then YouTube demonetized my entire channel and removed a 7-year-old video and demonetized my channel because they said I was involved with, quote, violent criminal organizations. And yeah, you talked about getting your notification just on Valentine's Day. I got my
Mm.
notification right before a 6-hour uh flight and with
Mm.
no internet, and I was like, it was just the worst timing because I knew I needed to do something right about it right away, and I couldn't do
Mhm.
anything. I couldn't fucking sleep on that plane for 6 hours. My mind is like, I'm so worried. Like my channel just got totally demonetized. Everyone thinks like I'm some kind of violent criminal now. How did YouTube even come up with
Mhm.
this? It's just the insanity. And I'm just so lucky that I had my videos backed up on Odyssey so I could show to people that this 7-year-old video was just a Starbucks commercial parody. There's no violence in it at all. I'm making fun of Elliot Rodger, the Santa Barbara shooter,
Mm-hmm.
and Starbucks. I'm not endorsing any violence. I'm not promoting him or any violence. I'm making fun of both of them.
Yeah, definitely. And Odyssey is good. I also use Utreon. It's somewhat newer, but both of them instantly grab from the feed. And
okay,
that was helpful. When my channel was nuked, everything was on Utreon as well.
These are I mean, it's a lifesaver, and it saved me again recently. So as you know, first I'll say, so YouTube, they finally responded and admitted they made an error. It only took, Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, Allison's help, your help, and some big names to retweet it out. And that's the only thing that got YouTube's attention. And they luckily they did respond and admit an error on Twitter, and they said that they had fixed it. They didn't fix it. My channel is still not monetized. All my hundreds of videos, they're still not monetized. That's insane. It's just now, and they did put the video back up, but frankly, that's a 7-year-old video. I'd rather have all my videos monetized again. And then this is just the start of it. You would think that, okay, each of these moments, each of these crazy individual strikes, I thought was like peak insanity, but it keeps getting crazier. It keeps getting crazier. And then here's where Allison gets involved, and it's all my fault, obviously, apparently. So she had me on to talk about the crazy censorship I'm dealing with from YouTube. And in the interview, she had this great little segment. She just brought up a couple clips from CNN and NBC that were clearly promoting medical misinformation according to YouTube's own guidelines. These are videos on CNN and NBC's YouTube channels that were still up, and they're saying that masks don't work. They're comparing COVID to the flu. Both of these things violate YouTube's guidelines. And we're just making the point. If YouTube was enforcing their rules fairly, these videos would have been deleted, and therefore those channels would have some strikes. They should even be removed by now. I think I made that point at the very end. If they were enforced of the end of Allison's video, if YouTube was enforcing their rules fairly, channels, these mainstream media channels, they would have had their channels deleted a long time ago. And how did YouTube respond to this video? They didn't take down those videos by NBC or CNN that is promoting COVID misinformation according to YouTube's own guidelines. No, what they did was they took down Allison's video.
Now, ironically, I knew that Allison, I thought they were going to take down her video. I didn't know if she'd get a strike, but I knew something was going to happen with it. And the reason is, you know Ford Fisher?
Yeah, I've interviewed him.
Okay, well,
go ahead.
Well, he does primary footage of all these events around the country. He is completely demonetized and can't use the footage, or he's between demonetizations. He goes on, off, on, off. But his same videos that they strike him out for, CNN, Fox, literally the networks are using those videos that he did. And I have all kinds of lawyers on the show, and they all are like, yes, if this was actually a trial, his authority is higher than all of them because he is the primary source. He actually physically took the freaking video. So if it happened to him, I was like, oh boy, she's poking the bear. And by the way, she was criticizing YouTube. Your whole saga started by criticizing YouTube. Of course, what did I label this? But I did it in a fun-loving way.
Hey, you did it in the good old, that's a traditional YouTube thumbnail. That's totally YouTube standard thumbnail. That's excellent. YouTube's got to appreciate that.
And I'm still green, by the way. I'm watching the clock. So miraculous. But okay, so then I know we're still not done because we got Allison back.
Yes.
With all the pressure. So that was looking good. And they did admit to you that that really wasn't a bad video.
I'm not a violent criminal.
Yes, you're not a violent criminal. Cheeky bastard, but not a violent criminal.
Yes.
And they forgot to apologize or put it back, and they left you demonetized. But wait, there's more.
There's more. So yes, like you said, we did get Allison's video back, even though YouTube rejected her appeal. So it was just, again, like we said earlier, the only way to get YouTube to respond is public backlash and through press. That's an embarrassment. That's the only way. That's the only way to hold them accountable.
I think you do have to do the appeal, though. I think that the appeal has to be done before you can go the public route, because then you can at least say, hey, because I did the appeal too. That was asked, and I took screenshots, blasted it out there and got retweeted. Everybody was like, yeah, there's a refusal. So I do think that do have to do the full process.
That definitely helps your case, because you have to show, well, YouTube was not just nuts, but they're double nuts. They rejected this appeal. And so it's so freaky how they brought back Allison's video without giving her or anyone any notification. They gave no apology whatsoever. It was just totally on the slide, just mysteriously reappeared. And now I'm hoping my video comes back. So what video did they just remove from me a couple days ago? It was a video that I made showing that Allison's video was totally kosher, that it wasn't violating any of YouTube's guidelines. And so the amazing thing is, so by reinstating Allison's video, YouTube is admitting that it doesn't violate any of their rules. So if that's back up, mine should be back up too. But they're not going to respond. But they already rejected my appeal. The only way to get them to do that is to embarrass them. And I'm worried. Like Crystal Ball and all these Glenn Greenwald, they're fucking like, they've already been helping with. They're like, they don't want to keep. I'm not getting the same. Like I don't know if they think I'm just repeating the same thing. Like, no, this is an entirely new fucked up, censorship from YouTube. And I don't know. So Nate the lawyer, I'm a fan. All your other friends who helped you out, please help me out, because we need to get YouTube's attention. I need this. This video should be back up.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully everyone will get out there. I know one person will not, because he has zero sympathy for you right now. He's made it really clear. Dr. Mike Wood, he's a contrarian. He's kind of a friend, but he's like,
is he K-High?
No, he's not K-High, but he did work.
I figured it.
He hung out with the Young Turks for a minute.
Oh, wow.
Well, he doesn't like them. I mean, it's not like they're...
Well, then he should like me, because you should look at my Young Turks video I did on Twitter. I haven't put it up on YouTube because I'm banned so often, but I hope to put up a final version on YouTube soon, assuming I'm not banned again.
Well, yeah, and then you've got the problem. I'm really looking to Utreon, because Odyssey is having lags. And with the rate you're going right now, they may not be able to grab the video before YouTube goes nuts, or at least back them up locally.
Yeah, no, they saved my life twice. I mean, just imagine the situation of YouTube removing a video of yours and saying that, they removed it because it's evidence and proves they determined that you are involved and associated with violent criminal organizations. Just imagine that situation, and you don't have the video to show people. And if it wasn't on Odyssey, it would have been removed, because YouTube fucking deleted it. So it's just, I'm so grateful that Odyssey is a thing and was able to and did back up my videos. They have a very good sync feature, so anyone can sync up their YouTube channel. Yeah.
Hopefully, it would be nice to get to the point where that would be your primary, though. That's, I'm so tired of hearing the pushback. I don't know if this happened to you, but when my channel got removed, do you know how many helpful people told me every other alternate network there possibly was a video out there? And I'm saying helpful in quotes, because it's like,
there's a lot.
Okay, and you tell me exactly which one of them has the reach. Which one of them will get everybody's computer? Look, I have locals. It's going fine. I like it. Great community, but it's a fraction. Rumble. I got into a few thousand subs there. I think I'm up to $29 in total video since like November. So, it's...
Allison introduced me to locals. I had not been familiar with it. And I haven't joined yet. hell, I would if it didn't. It's just so hard juggling so many sites, right? But what I did notice, so I went to her page and I saw that she was getting more engagement on her locals than I get on my Facebook, and it's got 100,000 follows. So
Mm,
like that, the engagement on Facebook is just pathetic. It goes to
right.
like the tiniest fraction of your followers, and so honestly, so locals does look good. Rumble does sound good. I know they've got some big in recent investments, right? So I mean, I'm definitely considering going there too. But I got to pick up. I would like
They got the
to.
Trump account too.
Oh, what was that?
Trump is doing on Rumble.
Oh, is that already happened, or is that just planning to
I
happen?
think I think it's already done. I don't know if he's
Oh,
there
that's
or not,
big.
but
Wow.
it is, but then I know that, like Allison's reluctant because, looking at your background, you worked for the campaign for a minute, the Bernie Sanders
Minute. Yep.
campaign, and Rumble unfortunately gets that reputation. I think Locals does too. I think they're washing it out, but it's like, oh, that's where all the right wingers go. And it's like,
Mm,
no, because you don't want to get that gab stain, if you will,
yeah.
which is completely unfair
I agree.
and
Yeah.
false in every account, but it's still there. So you're like, oh, great. Now, if you're
Yeah.
on Gab, you get that association. It's like, no,
Yeah.
the synagogue thing, that was not a Gab thing. That was actually a Twitter thing. But because he had an account on Gab, everybody's like, look, it was Gab.
And that's, it's even worse than the right wing thing. They don't just say right wing thing. I mean, that would be inaccurate, but um, it's this like right wing extremist. That's how they'll label it, which is even
Well, yeah.
worse, right?
Well,
It's
there
just
is
so
right
bad.
wing. There is. They just go a
Oh,
whole way. I mean, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even,
Well, I understand.
alt right has pretty much replaced right. If you talk to anybody in media or whatever, it just goes right to
Yeah,
alt right. There's no stopping.
yeah, yeah. And I do understand that. Yes, these alternative sites they're more right wing because they're fleeing the social media, the Facebook, the established social media, because they're so clearly out to get them. I mean, just seeing how the other day I just saw how Facebook is banning everybody charged with a crime in the January 6th riots, not convicted. They're just removing them just after they've been charged. That is nuts.
Oh yeah.
So
All right. I got to address this, but I'm not. Gordon's saying how dumb of Eric's followers to try and be helpful by showing them other alternatives. I'm not saying anybody is dumb. I'm saying when a person is down, sometimes going at them and saying, "Well,
you
that's what
should.
you expect if you're on YouTube. You shouldn't be on YouTube. You need to go to this other source or whatever." I'm answering, why is Matt fighting for his channel? Because it's the bulk of the money. It's the bulk of the audience. Same
Yep.
as mine on YouTube. We wish it wasn't so. Speak for myself. I wish it wasn't so. It is what it is. And I've talked to Nate about this. He came on too. One thing about it is YouTube's the boss. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like, we're sort of employees, and they have some really capricious policies that we don't completely understand, but we are sort of trapped in that. So I get that. And okay, Gordon's saying, Viva for I got 3,000 live followers on Rumble. Absolutely, that's
Mm.
fantastic.
Ooh.
But I know David personally, and I will tell you that while it's growing, the amount of funds from Rumble, he's not leaving YouTube today. I promise you that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, he would.
Yeah. But man, Peter Thiel, right? He's an investor in Rumble now, right? And he's
In
loaded.
locals. I think
Huh?
Peter Thiel's investing in locals as
Thiel.
well.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's big money. Yeah.
And I'm
Hopefully
hoping,
that makes a
the
difference.
more
Yeah.
this happens, I mean, if you look, there are more and more and more creators going to locals all the time, and some of this is for the market saturation. Like, if enough creators are over on locals, then it makes sense for people to go there and not hang out on Facebook or other things, because all their favorite people are over there. So it's really important. That's why, I'm always trying to recruit other creators. It's like, yeah, go on there, go on there, go on there.
Mm.
And people can at least follow for free. They can't, post or whatever, but that's much better than Patreon, which is a one-way communication, just like YouTube's membership. at least on locals, it's closer to like a Facebook combined with Patreon, if you will. But people can post themselves, which is nice.
Mhm.
But okay, so we've got your saga, and this I know is very much. I believe this is your living, right? Doing YouTube and
Yes.
content creation.
Yeah, I'm just video. I just make videos, and occasionally I'll do freelance. People like my YouTube videos enough, they'll hire me. But yeah, I just do video. I'm just a video guy.
Now, did you go to school for it?
I actually did. I don't think that was necessary. YouTube, just or online video in general, like that wasn't even a thing when I started. But if it had been, and since it is a thing now, I would not recommend anybody go to four-year college for video, because like so many things, you can just learn online. And frankly, the equipment, it is cheaper now, and it's just, you'd be better off just investing in some equipment and teaching yourself online. I mean, really, the best way to teach is always practice, 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 practice. And I did do that in college, but yeah, I did. But if I'd waited a couple of years to see YouTube and other online video, then probably wouldn't have made that decision. But I enjoyed it. I loved stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
I know. I was going to say, did it help you though with training, like knowing how to frame things better, how to light things better? Some of the the mechanics of it, which obviously every YouTuber is going to flail through as they're coming up, including me. I hang a curtain on the wall or whatever. I mean,
well, look. I mean, Eric, your lighting is better than mine right now. Let's see. Maybe if you've got better lighting. Hold on. Let's see. I just gotta. I'm traveling. This isn't my place. Let's see if I can bring this up. I don't even know how to keep that up. But
you're clear and
yeah,
easy to see.
it's clear.
Good connection. That's all that
Well, look
matters.
at the difference. Look at the difference. Here's a film lesson. Look, everybody. Look at the difference. If I could figure out how to keep that damn shade up, I don't see, then so you see the difference, everyone. You want some nice, point that face the light. Anyway, but see, that's so basic. You see, that's so basic. You obviously don't need to go to film school for that. Honestly, I've done, just searched YouTube for through YouTube enough to see that there's enough tutorials to cover all the basics and even like advanced stuff.
Cool.
And I'm sure, and hopefully you can search Odyssey and everywhere else too. I should not be promoting YouTube in any way. Please don't take this as any kind of promotion for YouTube. I hate YouTube. In this moment, I am hating YouTube so much.
That's true. And people are right. I mean, we're guilty of it in a way. If everybody just walked, but and I am waiting for a YouTube moment to be like MySpace. Or that's why I say I'm waiting for a MySpace moment on YouTube. That would be really nice. Where remember MySpace is everything, and then it was just like all of us, it was
And
like,
Facebook
well,
is
they're
over.
truck, and then boom, they're dead. And it was pretty immediate.
There was a plant. It was hiding behind a plant. I found it. I found the string. There you go.
Insanity. Now, anyway, I'm hoping for that moment to come along. I don't know. I do get the feeling that YouTube is trying to go more and more and more corporate. I have heard they wanted to be more like Netflix. They're jealous of that. And that is one consideration that maybe we're overlooking too. Like, we're all complaining that mainstream media has different standards, but then mainstream media is not only putting up content on YouTube, they're paying for advertising on YouTube, which you and I are not.
Yeah.
And I think that YouTube's actual customer is not us.
Not anymore. It's not anymore.
It's not the viewers either. It's the advertisers. That is their customer. So if the media is their advertiser, I don't know.
Yeah, and we're not even like their targeted users anymore. Like Susan Wojcicki said herself that their whole plan is they're trying to be the best website for every new media company. She said media company. She didn't say media creator. She said media company.
Yeah.
So.
And sadly, I think unless you're like the Young Turks who are blessed, and I believe they shoot actually in YouTube studios and whatnot.
Mhm.
You're gonna have trouble. Like I think you know Jimmy Dore. He
Mhm.
seems to have hit a ceiling with YouTube. Like he's
Yeah.
never gonna, he's commented on it. I'm not trying to make fun of him because it sucks. But he's like, yeah, we're never getting above that 850,000 level or whatever it is.
Yeah, he's been floating at that for over a year now. It does, but I mean, hopefully it increases. But we know now, Susan Wojcicki herself, she said, YouTube they promote their authoritative sources, and then they recognize some other creators as borderline sources, and they don't promote those. How do you become a borderline source? We don't know exactly. There's not much transparency around that. Maybe I'm borderline source because I've had all these videos removed by YouTube, even though in every single case it's completely absurd. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like I find it ironic. Okay, this one's still holding green, so I guess you're not on
Cool.
their list at the moment. But I find it ironic that the majority of my live streams get that yellow demonetization in the middle. I mean, it's probably 8 out of 10 now. It's that frequent. But yet, when I upload, let's say a reaction video, they allow me to read it myself because my what is it they said? My accuracy in my views and my content is very high. So I'm like,
Accuracy?
how can it be so high? But anyway, because every single time I, do the manual review, it always comes back great. Knock on wood. I mean, who knows? But I don't know. I how can I be really high, but yet you spank it every time? And I do have a couple sources to say that live streams are a particular problem with them, that they are getting hit harder than other stuff.
I don't do as many live streams, so I haven't noticed that. But I mean, yeah, the demonetization, that yellow dollar sign is just that hits me a lot. It hits me a lot, and I, now that I've got a little bit of attention, because the YouTube censorship on my channel has just reached, again, I can't say peak insanity because it's just going to go another notch. But can I share a few of the videos that have been demonetized on my channel?
Yeah.
So I had Tom Rockledge on. He was falsely accused of racism by a couple of his fellow couple women that sit on his New York City school council with him. And luckily for him, you know, the whole accusation and ridiculousness is recorded in a Zoom meeting, and that Zoom meeting was uploaded to YouTube. So I had him on to defend himself and to comment and on just how ridiculous this Zoom meeting was. And YouTube, of course, they recognized it as hateful content. So just having someone respond to false accusations of racism is hateful content that, and it went on, it said that might offend an individual or marginalized group. It's like,
Wow.
So because, I mean, first of all, I would love for just one person at YouTube to could dare to admit and say that that particular video offends them, or that they think it offends, any individual or marginalized community. It's absurd. I mean, to say that just defending yourself from false accusations, potentially career-killing accusations, is hateful content. It's just disgusting. It's so
It makes
wrong.
you wonder. You remember Lindsay Shepherd?
Yes. Yes. Is she
She
the she's
recorded
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a teaching assistant, PhD candidate
Defending
in Canada, and she showed Jordan Peterson clips to her classroom from public television in Canada. And she got called into the room and just put through the grill. And I'm thinking what you described right there, because this is like 3 years ago now, or 4 years ago, maybe more. I wonder if she would have been smacked down for introducing bad content when she was just defending herself.
Yeah, she didn't even yeah, she was just defending herself. And what was she defending herself for? She didn't even like take a side. She just literally just presented uh Jordan Peterson to her students without taking a side and letting them come to their own conclusions.
She didn't even like him.
And that
She even said she was not a fan of his. It's just that he got a lot of attention, and she was like, yeah, she was going to have a discussion, I think, to where he was wrong in her mind. And ironically, I think he wound up looking more right in the
absolutely, yeah,
process.
sure. Yeah. Yeah,
So
and the haters ended up looking more wrong if they could look more. But yeah, that's crazy story, and this stuff's happening all the time. Like another issue I run into a lot because I think war history is important, and uh, I have done a couple videos where I'll use just clips, images of war, the Iraq War,
sure.
in particular, sometimes the Vietnam War, and
Do they,
I'll literally just have what was that?
do they age restrict you on some of that?
Yep, yep,
Oh,
made restricted and ineligible for monetization. And in one of these videos, this one was called Five Times Trump Supporters Flipped on WikiLeaks. And it literally just has it's just 1 to 2 second clip of collateral murder. You're probably familiar with that video, the Apache helicopter attack
mhm.
that WikiLeaks leaked in like 2010, I believe. Anyway, so I'm literally just 1 to 2 seconds of this. It's black and white. It's the most grainy footage. You can't even, there's no gore whatsoever. You can barely see a damn thing. And YouTube makes that age restricted, just on 1 to 2 seconds of that, ineligible for monetization. And this is a clip that was played in its entirety on broadcast television, all the mainstream networks, all receiving advertising money for the broadcasts, and those broadcasts were not age restricted. It's just absurd. And so yeah, that's a whole other version of the crazy demonetization censorship. Another one was I had on. I don't know if you've heard of QAnon Anonymous. I was not familiar with them, but basically it's a podcast that just spends
Oh,
all
yeah,
their time
the debunker, supposed debunkers of of Q.
QAnon.
Yeah,
Yeah, they just make fun of QAnon all the time. And so I just had one of them on. This is after QAnon was banned by Twitter. So I had him on, and I just basically, asked him a couple times, like, well, what do you think about this Twitter ban? Like, should Twitter just be banning all QAnon? Because some QAnon were spamming, even if it's a lot. Like, do you really ban all of it? And so
if you're talking about them, you can get banned yourself. That was some problem too. It's like even if somebody who's against them is still repeating the message that they're saying, and then it gets this weird, crazy loop.
yeah, so that was deemed hateful content. That was hateful content. I literally just ask you, well, should some people on Twitter, not have their free speech taken away? Like, that's it. Like,
You're
hateful. It
hateful
was
to
hateful
hateful to
content.
Twitter.
Huh?
You're hateful to Twitter.
Yes, maybe I was. I wasn't even. I mean, I have been at times, but but yeah, nothing in that video was hateful. And I challenged anybody to find something hateful in those videos that YouTube deems hateful.
One thing I find funny is I've had Five Times August on, and he's a musician,
Okay.
and he's done like essentially almost protest songs. Like one of them is talking about TikTok videos, and he just pulled all the weirdos and TikTok, all those crazy videos you see on TikTok with people just really wanting to get attention for themselves. Blue, what all that is just cut together. It's like 1 second cuts throughout the whole thing. I mean, and he did another one. Now I was going to make the crack that if you do your content as songs, you can get away with anything on YouTube. But apparently that's actually not true too, because his video was flagged as adult only content with no swear words.
Well, it's
No,
because he's not signed by a major record label. If he was, then it wouldn't matter. Like that, and that's the big problem. Because YouTube, you filled out your, qualifications or whatever when you upload your videos. You see, out as far as profanity, like they actually say specifically, hey, if it's in a music video, then you can have more profanity than if it wasn't. They actually say that. But clearly, I mean, it sure seems like that only applies to if you're like it's a mainstream record label music video.
That's the irony. He had no profanity. None.
Yeah.
Not a single curse word.
Yeah.
None. But he did use footage of NBC News.
That should be fair use.
Trouble for, like Alice.
Okay.
So, and I'm like, because I think it was showing like riot footage of, like the song is Jesus, what happened to us. And it was kind of like a peon to say, what is wrong with everybody? This is crazy. World's going apart. Very legitimate song. Bob Dylan could have written it, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, long time ago. But then that was it. And no,
5 years ago, 10 years ago, give him a little. He's still around. He's still around. Is he dead?
He's smart though. He sold his whole catalog. That's a whole nother.
Okay.
Which is very interesting. But okay, so your next video that they demonetized. I think you said you had 3.
Oh man, there's a whole long list. But I mean, one of the funny ones is how to defeat racism. And 5 inspiring stories. It was, so I just shared 5 stories. Daryl Davis.
Daryl Davis is amazing. Have you talked to him? He's someone I want to have on.
I would love to speak with him, but I have not had the honor yet. Hopefully someday.
You should try. I mean, I think that he is taking actions and not talking. I mean, he's actually getting diminished genuinely, and I salute him so much because people are changing. He's changing lives. He's lessening the temperature. He's setting a great example. And I'm seeing in the chat here, and it's right. They're like, okay, so what about some solutions? We're just griping.
Okay.
Well, and he's the solution guy, and I understand that. So far, my solutions are, hey, everybody, I'm on unstructured.locals.com. Please follow me there at a minimum. And that's something that I pushed hard with Allison too, because people can follow you for free. But if my channel gets nuked or anything else, that allows me to get the word out to everybody. Hey, this happened. So if anything, that's great. And there's content you can see. So that's another reason to consider going there.
I may just have to do that.
Any other solutions?
Man, I mean, well, the 230, the section 230, removing that is not a solution. I don't know how you feel, but I don't see that as a solution, right? Yeah. It's just going to make things worse.
Yeah.
But I do think a possible solution would be to treat social media like we treat the phone lines, as a common carrier. So you really, that I think is the best solution I've heard. Right, you got to let everything through. You got to let everything through the phone line, unless it breaks the law. I believe might be the one exception. And so you could apply that to social media.
You don't know. Even then, they're not accountable for it because I mean, you don't know what people are saying on the call. Then that would mean you're tapping it. So it's a weird scenario. But
so I think we should apply that to social media. But then the only other solution I see is that one of these alternatives really becomes a contender, like whether it's Rumble, Odyssey, places or locals. We need a contender.
What are your thoughts on? I'm seeing a lot more people picking up on, like, say, Signal. I'm going to recommend Signal the highest over Telegram because it's open source. Do you think there's some potential there if people can shift to things that are harder to shut down, involving blockchain, involving encryption, and less centralization?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of Mastodon. I don't know if that ever took off, but seems like what you're describing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Odyssey uses a blockchain, I believe, right? Or library, which is
I think they do. Rockfin does as well.
Minds does. That's another good. I think Minds is a good Facebook alternative, probably like Locals. So
Okay,
that's
so but I
another.
guess that's this. We're just I'm kind of hoping that it's the Hemingway quote that how did you go bankrupt? Slowly at first and then suddenly. That people, Locals is picking up steam. I see it doubling, but somebody talked about a pandemic as comparing it to like leaves on the water, or whatever. How you don't see it, you can sit on a lake and never see anything, but if they keep doubling and doubling and doubling, eventually then they're everywhere, but you can sit there for a long time and never see any of the effect.
Mm-hmm.
If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I hope we reaching like, a watershed moment soon. But yeah,
Oh, that's right. We're doing.
honestly, with I mean, really, this latest example of freaking, YouTube banning Allison for calling out how they enforce their rules unfairly. It's just such the perfect example. And they remove her video and my video instead of the videos that we are from the mainstream media that we are specifically pointing out violate YouTube's guidelines. Like, you just couldn't have a better example of how rigged YouTube's system is. And if that story, and I know there are other stories, the more these stories come out, then eventually, yeah, you could have a mass migration.
Okay.
Another solution, which is probably wishful thinking, is YouTube fucking waking up and changing their ways, but I'm not holding my breath.
If they lose money, I mean, really, that's the incentive angles. Like, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, part of the reason that there still are a bunch of small creators and all that, because they could change the algorithm just a little bit and just freeze us out. We get no views and we're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then that takes care of it, right? But apparently there's such a glut of ad material for them that's why they changed their rules to where channels that are demonetized or don't even have the 1,000 for the program, they're running ads on them now because
Yeah,
there's much inventory. So I don't know.
So that really pissed me off. When they changed that rule, when they said that they can make money on your videos even when you aren't now. That's kind of fucked. That's pretty fucked up. So that they can, so that when they do demonetize your channel or my channel or anybody's channel, they can keep making money off it. That's so fucked up.
When I wonder though,
That
I think there may be a case on that though. Unjust enrichment. I mean, there are laws. I know all these lawyers, and they can give you the lawyer terms, but I think that there is a case to be made.
Yeah,
For
it
that.
just sounds wrong to me. Yeah.
Yeah, but because the people aren't in the program yet, they're just saying, hey, our channel, our rules, we're storing your stuff for free.
Mhm.
We can put ads on it to pay for it.
But when the way they worded it, it seemed like it would also apply to,
I agree.
material that was that had been monetized but was demonetized for whatever reason. They want to call you a violent criminal organization or whatever, and then they can keep making money off it. It seems like
It's just their community guidelines, which are so vague. You're kind of going, what? How?
Oh my God, yeah. And Facebook, did you hear about? I mean, honestly, it's even worse on Facebook. But did you see about that story of how they censored #revolution?
No.
Oh, it's such a crazy story. May I quickly try?
No.
So July 4th weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Where they removed the word and they hid it, and because I know I went there and we talked about it, and then people, of course, tried it and it worked again. Humiliation.
Well,
Powerful tool.
yes, and what sucks though is like there was so little. I mean, luckily there was enough pushback and people being upset about it that they changed it. But it was so little that they didn't even have to comment on it, and it should have gotten so much more attention. I mean, how crazy a story is that? That's Facebook is literally pretend you got Mark Zuckerberg waving his flag on, virtue signaling with the American flag during July 4th weekend while he is censoring revolution. Literally, he's censoring the hashtag revolution as he's pretending to celebrate the American Revolution. It's just unbelievable.
Well, they have no sense of irony. I mean, that is the saddest statement of all. And okay, a lot of the people I hang with or whatever will say that, like on a communist creep or that kind of attitude, the first thing that dies is humor. The first people that go after are comedians, because the comedians are the ones who go and poke fun at whatever, and comedians typically see through the veneer of what's going on. So you will find that, let's say in 1940s Germany, there wasn't much laughing. That went away quick. During Stalinist Russia, again, tell me all the great comedians coming out of the Mao regime. Not so much.
And this is how my experience with the Sanders campaign ended quite quickly because of old comedy. And let's see if I have.
What happened? Tell us the story. I know you've probably told it 1,000 times, but please walk us through.
So it was just an old YouTube video. Famous words, right? It's just and this one was a 10-year-old YouTube video where I had remixed Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech to be "I Have a Wet Dream" speech, and basically there and
wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. No wonder. Didn't Bernie Sanders have that college writing of that weird fantasy that kind of leaked?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and tell the story, but now it's popping in my head that he might be a little sensitive.
A little what?
A little sensitive to potential.
Oh, maybe, yeah. But see, that's the thing is like that's what's so fucked up is like, so anybody, if they're being honest, and they're actually like not a total weirdo, like not a robot, they've they'll find this kind of humor funny, and they've probably made a similar joke themselves at some point in their lives. But and just how you brought up, like even Bernie Sanders has done some and I don't know if his case was humor, but he discussed funny
to
sex
talk about
and stuff like this. Yeah. And anyway, so but here's there's so much irony in the story, but literally since I published that video over 10 years ago now, I made a note and I made clear in the description that I have the utmost respect for Martin Luther King Jr. and that the purpose of this video, in addition to comedy, I did do it, it was comedy. The purpose of this video was to show how easily manipulated media can be in television and the media. That's it. You couldn't have there couldn't be a better, in my mind, there's just no better example for that. If you, because I really edited it to sound like it was real, like that he was actually saying that I have a dream to take drugs. It actually sounds like he's saying this. And, and I thought it was a good warning to people. Now, interestingly enough, today and at the time that it resurfaced, it was more relevant than ever because of deep fakes.
Sure.
So I was only 10 years ahead of it. And instead of getting, the kudos for being 10 years ahead, warning people about deep fakes, I fucking got fired. I basically essentially lost my goddamn job.
So, I love it. You mentioned that about the media manipulation. One of the best books I've ever read is Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Hall.
That's a great name.
If you ever get an opportunity to read that book, I highly recommend it. He talks about his time at American Apparel, how he'd feed stories in, how he would run an advertising campaign that would be picked up as media coverage, and literally how to manipulate the press. And give examples like one of the main ones is that on Twitter, find out who the reporters are following, because they're always following like junior publications or smaller rags or whatever, and then find out who they're following. So you insert something in some podunk BS publication, and suddenly it gets picked up and magnified all the way through, and it'll be in the Washington Post before you know it. And he talks about all of that and how to manipulate or how he manipulated and how it can be done. Really, really fascinating work. Trust me, it's worth checking out.
Well, yeah, I'll check it out. Also, that I mean, like I said, that's just a damn good title, so I'll have to check that out.
Oh yeah, it is.
Um,
And, what was it? Remember the Covington kids
yeah,
deal?
yeah.
That was started by, I believe, it was a Brazilian Twitter account that
Mm.
might have been a semi psyops type of thing or whatever, but that was a manipulation feed again that went all the way up.
Yeah, I actually have a little story about that. So since I I was a big Bernie supporter in 2016, continued supporting him in 2020, and I but that story, when I saw that video for myself, I saw people complaining about like, oh, how terrible these Catholic these Covington Catholic kids are. I I was just kept asking people like, so where exactly do they do X, Y, or Z that you say they're doing? And so people block me. I'm like, and whenever that happens, I'm like, all right, got to make a video now. And so I made a video about that, showing how the media narrative was complete bullshit. And one of the Facebook pages that had made me an admin because they liked my videos, um, they said I couldn't share that. They said they were going to delete that after I shared it on their pages, that I couldn't share that. Which, and it's just so fucked up. Like the whole idea behind this page, Facebook page, was to just be the media, to get away from the the bullshit media narratives, place where we could just share truth. And but it turned out it was that was bullshit. They had their own bias, and they wanted to enforce their own bias, even when a story that's so clearly bullshit and that people were so clearly misinformed about, like you wouldn't just let people should see this. You know what I mean? Like it's, huh?
Misinformed like Russiagate.
Yes, yeah. Like it's that obviously that was crazy as well. Although, but interestingly, but because I'm wondering why they would let Rush in this case. I believe they would actually let people make videos, share videos debunking Russiagate, but for something about the Covington Catholic school kids, I guess they just really hated Trump, and the owner of the page, she is a like super nice person, but it just makes no sense. She just didn't want to offend people or something. But it's like the only reason people would ever join a page that's supposedly dedicated to, debunking shit and just sharing only truthful information so that you can get out of the bullshit media lies, media narrative. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but that disturbed me greatly, and you just triggered me with when you mentioned Covington Catholic High School, so I shared the story.
No, that's cool. Speaking of which, I'm curious. I saw your video of Sam Cedar being a huge Jimmy Dore fan,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was pretty funny. Where
Thanks.
where do you stand with all of these folks? I'm genuinely curious. Like there's that whole Crowder thing that went with Ethan Klein
Mm-hmm.
and Sam Cedar and all that. I feel like you've traveled different places.
Uh-huh.
Where do you fall? Or who
I like to just. What was the last part there?
who would you call honest brokers and who would you stay away from?
Well, honestly, everybody's got their biases. So I would never. It, personally, I just identify as independent. That's one things I liked about Bernie Sanders, although he's become more and more Democrat, or aligned with the even as establishment Democrat. But I can't. I do enjoy Jimmy Dore. I'm friends with Jimmy Dore. Um, I like Crystal Ball. But I'm definitely not one of those people that's just going to say everything Crowder says is bullshit. So you know what I mean? Like it's just wrong to say that. Um, Same thing. I mean, even Alex Jones is right sometimes. I mean, and I really don't. Although I will say, I think It is odd though that Crowder would like dodge an interview with Sam Cedar, or not an interview, a debate. I'm not a fan of Sam Cedar. I'm not a fan
He
of
did.
Sam Cedar.
He really didn't. I
Um,
mean, the kind of messed up thing is there was a debate with Ethan Klein, and
uh,
Crowder
he wasn't
released like,
planning on it. I understand that. Yeah,
so it's like
but
he's
he's
like,
yeah. Sorry, because
no, I
but I get
bad on.
here we go again. Sorry.
We're gonna get there. After you.
I,
No.
I think so. So even if let's say your premise is correct, that he, even at the very the whole story that he ran away from Sam, that he was dodging a debate with Sam Cedar at whatever event that was. I don't know what it was, Politicon, whatever it was. So let's say even he was never even dodging him then. If he really, he is big Second Amendment. So he's always talking about the issues he cares about, and he knows them in and out, and he's an experienced debater in these issues, right? So
Hmm.
if I was passionate about any issue in particular, and there's a couple, I would never turn away a debate, especially when it's from, a large channel like Sam Cedar. Now, to be fair, yeah, I know Crowder's channel is far larger. So hey, maybe if I was ever at such a large size myself, I would, spend my time only, it collab limit my collaborations to ones that could help me even more, perhaps, but still, uh, like I said, when there's an issue that someone's so passionate about, it just seems odd why you would turn down a debate with somebody with such a significant following, and someone that you say is so weak and has such a terrible argument. I would jump at the chance. You would think he would jump at the chance to just own him and school him. And anyway, so I just thought that was interesting, but generally, no, I don't take sides and say like, oh, I hate these people. And I don't like that.
Well, I was gonna say apparently nobody will debate Sam Cedar.
Ha! Yeah.
It's, I mean, it was interesting because the list, I guess, is long, and judging from your video that you cut together, Jimmy doesn't have much time for him either.
Well, there's definitely a feud between the two of them, and yeah, there's a feud. And but also Sam he's MSNBC. He literally has an MSNBC contract, and like this just that's a big turnoff to Jimmy. That's also a big signal that he's like disingenuous. Let's face it, right? But hey, I mean, whoever wants to debate, whoever, go for it. Uh, but yeah, bottom line is people get to choose how the fuck they spend their time, what the best is. But yeah, you're right. If anyone really is passionate about a certain topic, it is odd that they would turn down a debate. I don't think Sam Cedar ever offered to debate Jimmy on force the vote or whatever. And also he's basically complained about Jimmy not inviting him on Jimmy's show. You know what I mean? Like that, you can't invite yourself on someone else's show. You can't.
Crazy. There's no obligation, folks. You can
Yeah,
control your own show. You
yes.
can hope, you can dream, you can
Yeah.
whatever, but no, that's not going to happen.
I have to wrap up here because I got
Yes.
another interview. Got to get the word out, to escape from YouTube hell. But thanks for having me, Eric.
Yep. Thank you very much. Everybody can find you at Matt Orfalea on YouTube or Zero RF on Twitter, right?
That's right. That's right. And
All
again,
right.
I'm very impressed. It is Orfalea. I'm super impressed. You did it again. You did the impossible again. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, and keep fighting. And everybody, start retweeting them if you will, or hopefully get the
Yes,
word out. It's not the big
yes,
accounts that count; it's all accounts.
yes. You matter. It's thanks to viewers like you that we can defeat YouTube when they do dumb shit like this. So yeah, please help me out. Thanks again, Eric. Until
Thank
next
you.
time.